let's start with the BetMGM game of the week. A tradition like no other. Alabama going to Oklahoma. This line opened at BetMGM at Bama minus 2.5. It has since swung like a swing set back the other way, favoring the home team Sooners by 1.5. All right, so what does that mean? I don't know. I told y'all on Twitter, if you follow me there, Instagram, Twitter, at JD PicKell, this game has me in a freaking blender. I've probably picked this game 3 or 4 times in the last 24 hours and given several different results, flip-flop many a time. It's going to be the kickoff game for us here for the playoff. Friday night, 8 Eastern, ABC, December 19th. Oklahoma, I've said it many times, the Komodo dragon of college football. What that means, it may not be the most aesthetic. If you've seen a Komodo dragon, hopefully not in person, using Google Images, it's not the most appealing-looking creature. Scaly, kind of ugly, like an alligator and a salamander had a baby. Not the most pretty to look at. However, if you get in the same room with that thing and it bites you, it's game, set, match, dude. Highly venomous, highly dangerous. Oklahoma, they might score 17 points and beat you. That's just how it's gone, dude. I wish I had something more for you. It might not be the best thing to look at if you're a fan of offensive football. Now, hopefully it evolves that way if you're an Oklahoma fan with John Mateer getting healthy. But that's just kind of who they've been this year. The Komodo dragon of college football, ugly a lot of the time, but they get it done. They're venomous, they're dangerous, and they're defending home turf here in a game that they won the last time in Tuscaloosa when these teams played not that long ago. Now, for Alabama, a familiar spot for you here. You are once again circling the wagons. You lose to Florida State in week 1. Is Kalen DeBoer the right guy? Is he the right personality for Alabama? And then you reel off a bunch of wins, and then you play Oklahoma, and you lose that game, and you're once again in fight or flight mode, and then you finish the season strong and find yourself playing for the SEC championship game. Now, the SEC title game was ugly. It was very, very ugly. But if I know one thing about this Kalen DeBoer Bama team, they get up off the mat. Need you one more time to get up off the mat, Bama. College football playoff game. Here we go. Speaking of getting up off the mat, Bama in that game against Georgia in the SEC title game, it was a laundry list of injuries. CVS receipt length when it came to dudes that were not available for Bama in that football game. A total of 10 starters down in that spot. Now, we're still, give or take, 9 days away from this game happening, so we'll keep a pulse on the injury report. How many of those individuals are able to go in this game? And if they are able to go, what percentage of them are you getting if they're playing for you? I'm looking at you, Josh Cuevas. Looking at that running back room for Bama. Are you able to have some other things to make this offense more balanced and more dangerous? Massive part of this. Now, on the flip side of that for Oklahoma, you beat Bama the last time you played them. You didn't even have your best defensive player available in R. Mason Thomas. Is he ready to roll? If R. Mason Thomas is ready to go in this game, look out, because that is going to probably add to the sack total that Oklahoma had the last time they played Alabama. Spoiler, it was 5. Without R. Mason Thomas, got 5 sacks. We'll see what happens here. So my question here is, do we get the same script in round 2 as we got in round 1? Because the script in round 1 was Alabama won everything but the turnover margin and the scoreboard. Outgained Oklahoma, had longer time of possession than Oklahoma. For good measure, they were less penalized than Oklahoma. They threw for more yards than Oklahoma. Like Ty Simpson had over 300 yards, but it didn't matter. Why? Because Oklahoma forced 3 turnovers. Had a punch out on special teams and a punt return against Ryan Williams. And then you had a couple of picks not go your way if you're or one pick rather go your way if you're Ty Simpson. And one of those was a pick 6. So it is what it is. But if you're Alabama, needless to say, you turn the football over again, you don't feel good about your chances to win the ball game. Now, if you're Alabama, though, I do think you look back at what happened in that game, and it was very obvious. Ty Simpson was in a bit of a blender. He was sped up. For whatever reason, Brent Venables has had Kalen DeBoer's number the last 2 years. Brent Venables, even a year ago, when they had a 6-7 season, they still beat Alabama with Jackson Arnold playing quarterback. So very obviously, he's had that offense's number. Are you able to throw a new pitch yet again at Ty Simpson? Because if I know one thing about Ty Simpson, he's getting back in the lab, son of a coach, gym rat, film junkie, all those things. He's going to get back in the lab and right all the wrongs that he had in this game, if they were out there with the same exact game plan. Like, I don't think you get Ty Simpson twice throwing the same stuff if you're Brent Venables. So are you able to recreate a new script to get him off his pivot? And then for Ty Simpson, are you able to anticipate what that new script is going to be? Now, I think if I'm Alabama, I would love to see them utilize some tempo in this spot. It's very difficult to be complex pre-snap as a defense when the offense is already lining up ready to snap it. Like, I'd love to see them go quick, get the ball out in a hurry, and just try to catch Oklahoma in some more simple base stuff, because I think that would in some ways be advantage Alabama. There's explosive plays to be had here. I told you, 326 last game for Ty Simpson when they played. Ryan Williams, as much as he's been a little bit, I don't want to say invisible, it's a little bit harsh, but he hasn't been really a factor for Alabama. He can factor in this game. He can be a matchup for you. Jeremy Bernard, he could be a factor in this game. Latzia Brooks, Isaiah Horton, the personnel out wide for Bama is the advantage in this spot. But you only get to utilize them if Ty Simpson is processing it properly. Helping him process, to me, would look like 1, tempo, and then 2, finding a way to run the football. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say finding a way to get Jam Miller healthy for this one, or finding a way to get Daniel Hill rolling in this one. I think you could use some quarterback run in this spot. My mind goes back to the Auburn game. Ty Simpson, is he like a 4.40 guy? Probably not, but he's got some wheels. Get him a blocker, get him out in space. He can make something happen for you. And it's not like I need Alabama to dominate on the ground in this spot. Like I said, they won the run game last time they played against Oklahoma. Do you have enough to offset the pressure from Oklahoma to set up ideal second and third downs, and also keep that back end a little bit honest, chill out the pass rush, and away we go? Again, there's explosive plays to be had. Can Alabama find a way to access those by keeping Oklahoma honest on defense and not turning the freaking football over, man? Turn it over, then the rest of this breakdown doesn't really matter. Now for Oklahoma, what kind of calories do we have on offense? Do we have calories at all? Because when I watch Oklahoma, I don't see a lot of what I would call like good calories. Good calories are like the rhythmic offense, a steady run game, the quick game, the things that you'd like to have when it comes to scoring points. I see a lot of dirty bulking. I see a lot of Snickers out there for the Oklahoma, a lot of candy bars out there for them. I see Sugar Rush. I see caffeine. I see 87 yards to Satania. I see 45 yards to Burks to beat LSU. I see just a lot of explosive plays where it's like, that's awesome. I don't know if you can depend on that going into every single game. Now, I say that, and they're in the college football playoff with 10 wins and 2 losses, and so what do I know? But when you're playing Alabama, I'd like to see some good calories. I'd like to see something rhythmic on offense. Is that quick passing game? Is that creative run game? I don't know. I think the matchup here to watch for Oklahoma on the offense side of the ball is twofold. One, the matchup on the perimeter when it comes to getting the ball to Satania and Burks in space for Oklahoma. If they can make something happen after the catch, you take a lot off John Mateer's plate. You probably feel a lot better about being able to come back the other way with some creative run game off of the quick game to Satania and Burks. If they can be sustainable calories for you on the perimeter, good things happen for Oklahoma. Second matchup I'm watching here, Ben Arbuckle, OC for Oklahoma, against DC Kane Womack for Alabama. I just need to catch him slipping once or twice if I'm Ben Arbuckle. That's it. Because we've seen, I keep going back to this, Oklahoma is not going to score in the 40s here. If they do, more power to you, Oklahoma. You got a college football playoff win in your back pocket. Congratulations. It's can we get 1 or 2 explosives? Can we scheme up 1 or 2 explosives, whether it's some misdirection, maybe we plant a seed here in the first quarter with a certain look we go back to later in the game. I just need to catch Kane Womack's defense out of position once or twice for a big play. We're in business. So those 2 matchups, watching them very, very closely. But in this spot now, too, it's kind of a burn-the-boats approach here if you're Oklahoma on offense, is it not? Last time you played, John Mateer carried the football 10 times, one of them for a touchdown. He keeps on getting healthier. You'd like to think with 3 weeks of rest, give or take, this will probably be the most similar to September version of John Mateer that we've gotten this season post-thumb. You're running John Mateer here. It's pretty evident that the Oklahoma run game isn't going to be dominant anytime soon. That's okay, but it's got to be all hands on deck. Again, you got to have something to create rhythm, to create sustainability, and to set up 3rd and 6 or less, 3rd and 5 or less would be kind of the range I'd like to live, because then the whole playbook is open. But if you're not cutting it loose here for John Mateer, when it comes to the running game, that is, and utilizing his legs, one, you're doing yourself a disservice, because I don't love the idea of not maximizing all our playmakers in a college football playoff game. And 2, I think you're putting yourself at a disadvantage schematically. The thing that I love about John Mateer running the football, and people say this all the time when you watch a colored commentary on a broadcast, the +1 run game. All that means you get an extra blocker when your quarterback runs the football. And for how Oklahoma has not run the ball this year, I like extra blockers, and I like a guy who has been able to run the football at a somewhat decent level this year when he's healthy. toting the rock for us. So the first 20 minutes of this game might just tell the story. If it's about points, I don't like Oklahoma chasing points. I'd say they haven't done it this year, but there's a lot more that you have to forecast that's hard to forecast right now in the context of this game for them to win. If Ty Simpson gets to play with a lead, okay, here we go. More importantly, John Mateer doesn't get to play with the lead, has to chase points. That's not really who Oklahoma wants to be. They start pressing. If they press, they have turnovers. Bama wins. Full stop. Now, if it's about the margins, I don't like Alabama in this spot. Because Alabama, special teams-wise, hasn't been great this year. Meanwhile, Oklahoma has arguably the best kicker in college football, in Tate Sandell. So if it comes down to margins and finding a way to create turnovers and all those things, then I like Oklahoma in this spot. The tricky thing for me in picking this game, I've seen both these teams do what I would ask them to do to win. If it's about gritty and gross and what I just said, then Oklahoma has majored in that all year long. If it's about responding to adversity and pulling the nose up, Alabama has done that multiple times this year, to the tune of playing for the SEC championship after losing the first week of the college football season. We all left them for dead after lost to Florida State. In this spot, I feel like I have to go a little bit more on logic than gut. My gut says I think John Mateer in Oklahoma is going to once again find a way to grit this one out at home, wind at their back. And I've been wrong on Oklahoma multiple times this year, so take this with a grain of salt. That's what my gut says. Logic is telling me Alabama won the football game last time they played. They just turned the football over too many times. So are you forecasting that Oklahoma is going to get 3 turnovers again and Ty Simpson once again is in a blender? That, to me, would be a touch surprising. Also, are you going to go ahead and assume that Kalen DeBoer goes 0 for 3 against the same head coach? That would also surprise me. So gut says one thing, logic says another. On this show, I will uncomfortably pick Alabama to get their lick back, to win, to cover. Final score in Norman, Alabama wins 24-20, and they advance in the college football playoff after looking abysmal, embarrassing against Georgia, and they advance in the college football playoff to play the Indiana Hoosiers. We'll break that one down when it gets here. Don't feel great about it, but we stand on business. That's our pick, and we will respond accordingly.